Hi, this is Roger in Finland, and as I announced in the end of the previous video, I'll give you 10 reasons why to buy the Panasonic G9 in 2020. And I think that to be fair, I should publish both videos at the same time. Reason number 1, the screen, the flippiness, the brightness, the touchiness. It's just great. I didn't realize how much I missed having a Panasonic fully tilted articulating screen until I got this G9. Reason number 2, micro four thirds mount. There's a ton of native glass, both from Panasonic, Panasonic Leica and Olympus, which are great. There are some Sigma lenses as well. The trio that I love for the Sony APS-C, the 16, 30 and 56mm f1.4, they're also for micro four thirds mount, which they have of course a bit different equivalent field of view. But then one great thing of this mount is that it has a very short flange distance. The sensor is smaller than in many of the other systems, so pretty much everything is adaptable to micro four thirds. Additionally, you can use speed boosters like the Viltrox or the Metabones, especially for Canon EF or Nikon AIS mounts, and that will give you a smaller crop factor than the native ×2 of the micro four thirds. So that gives you even a bit more options when it comes to lens choice. Number 3, physical buttons and connections. It does have dedicated white balance, ISO, exposure compensation, a dedicated switch for the different focusing modes from manual to continuous to single. It does have a joystick to move the autofocus points. It still has on top of that 3 customizable function buttons. It has 3 dials, one in the front, one in the back, and still the dial in the back of the back, and more custom buttons in the front next to the mount. The customizability of Panasonic cameras tends to be great. This one is probably one of the best. In addition to all these physical buttons, there's still some soft buttons within the screen, which are also customizable. And when it comes to the connections, this has microphone input, headphone jack, full HDMI. Please, all camera manufacturers give us full HDMI connections. Number 4, the size. I just complained of how silly it is to have this big camera with this small sensor. If you forget about the sensor, what do you want in a camera? You want a camera that feels good in your hand. Since the Nikon D800, I haven't had a camera in my hands that feels as good ergonomically as this one. The grip is great. If you have big hands like I do, all the buttons are at your disposal, and it just built very, very well and very solidly. This is a proper camera. Number 5, video features, especially after the version 2.0 firmware. This can shoot 4K 60p. It can shoot 422 10-bit internally, it can shoot up to 180 frames per second in full HD, and it does have now variable frame rate. It makes it an excellent video shooter and a much tougher choice between this and the GH5. Number 6, media. This has 2 card slots and they are placed in a proper place that it will never be on your way. Doesn't matter if this is mounted on a tripod or on a cage or whatever, these are always and nicely accessible. And there's 2 of them. Autofocus with the firmware version 2.0. This was already excellent with photography before, but now with this latest version update, it's even good for video and continuous autofocus. We're gonna have to do a bunch of tests about it, but all the videos I've seen are very, very promising. Number 8, high resolution mode. This is excellent for landscape photographers because this will give you through pixel shifting, which is basically moving the sensor using the in-body image stabilization technology to get a 80 megapixels picture. Number 9, Panasonic menu systems. They are the most intuitive and easy menu system I've ever used. Number 10, in-body image stabilization. This camera will give you 5 stops of stabilization, and if you combine it with a stabilized lens from Panasonic, that will be 6.5 stops. That's a lot. If you're shooting sports or kids, that will not help because you're gonna get anyway the blurry movement if the shutter speed is not high enough, but for most other cases it will be more than enough, and it will be an excellent feature for handheld video shooting. Number 11, the best camera app in the market. You can control this camera and monitor it through your tablet or through your phone and control a ton of the settings from the phone or from the camera. It's the best I've ever used from any other brand. Number 12 of the 10 reasons to get this camera in 2020, USB power. If you're using it in a studio setup or just setting it on a tripod and filming yourself or such, Forget about power problems, you can just plug it into the mains through the USB cable and you're good to go. And number 13 of this list of 10 reasons why to buy this camera in 2020 is the price. You get all the 12 reasons that I just mentioned for around 1K. That's just insane. Considering how much I like this camera, it was very difficult for me to make a video listing 10 reasons why not to buy it in 2020. But that said, if you want a bigger sensor, then this is not for you. Otherwise, this is an excellent option in 2020. I hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon for some more content.